There's a specific moment where your brain stops working like everyone else's. Not a mood swing, not at all. Not motivation, it is deeper. Switch, a total switch. And once it flips, you don't go back. In the next half hour, I'm going to show you exactly what that switch looks like, what changes the second it flips, and how you trigger it on purpose instead of waiting for it to happen to you. Stick around, because the part almost nobody gets right is at the very end. Right now, everyone on this planet is running one of two operating systems, and most people have no idea which one they're on. They think it's personality. Some people are just driven, some people are lucky, some people are built different. It's not personality, it's sequence. Group 1, the vast majority, runs in response mode. Something happens, then they decide how they feel about it. Then they decide what to do. React, process, act. In that order. Every single time. Group 2 runs the opposite order. They decide first. Before the circumstance even shows up, they've already chosen how they're going to move through it. That's the entire mechanism. 2 groups, 2 sequences, and everything downstream of that. How fast they recover, how clearly they think under pressure, what they actually build, traces back to which order they're running. Here's what nobody tells you. Switching your sequence has nothing to do with confidence. And it's not fake it till you make it. There's one specific habit that flips it, and it's smaller and stranger than you'd expect. I'll show you exactly what it is. But first, you need to see how deep Group 1's trap actually goes. Let's make this real, because reactive mode sounds abstract until you see it in your own day. Your alarm doesn't go off. You wake up 12 minutes late, and before your feet even hit the floor, the whole day has already been decided for you. You're rushed. You're behind. You're irritated at everyone in the kitchen for no reason they did anything wrong. That's not a bad morning. That's Group 1's entire operating system playing out in miniature. Something happened, and you let it choose your state for the next 6 hours. Or you put yourself out there, a message, an application, an ask, and it doesn't land. Silence, or worse, a flat no. And in the 15 minutes after, something happens that you don't even notice happening. You quietly downgrade what you're allowed to want next. Nobody told you to do that. A single data point just told your brain the story, and your brain believed it. Or the one everybody knows. The envelope, the notification, the number that's bigger than you expected. And for the rest of that day, maybe the rest of that week, that number is the main character. Every decision runs through it. Not because you chose to think about it constantly, because it grabbed the wheel and you let it. None of that makes you weak. It makes you normal, because this is what Group 1 actually is. It's not laziness, and it's not lack of ambition. It's letting the first thing that happens in any situation decide the next 10 things you think and do. The circumstance goes first. You go second. Every time. And here's the part that should actually unsettle you. It's not just the big moments. It's the default setting. It's running underneath decisions you don't even remember making. What you said yes to, what you didn't ask for, what you assumed wasn't available to you. You've been Group 1's passenger for so long, you stopped noticing there was a driver's seat at all. So if reacting first is the default, what does the alternative actually look like? Not the theory of it, the actual mechanism. That's next. So what does the alternative actually look like on the inside? Not as a slogan, as an actual mechanism you could run today. Group 2 does one thing differently, right at the start. They decide the outcome before the outcome exists. Not in a delusional way. Not at all. It is structured. In a specific, deliberate way. It is a precise movement. Before the situation arrives, they've already occupied it. Think about the kind of athlete who becomes almost impossible to rattle. Not because nothing bad happens to them. Plenty does. They fall behind, they take a bad call, the crowd turns. But watch them in the moment right before it starts. They're not hoping. They are fully prepared. They're not running through every way it could go wrong. They've already run the outcome in their head, and they've already decided that's the one that's true. So when adversity shows up midway through, it doesn't land as a threat. It lands as an expected obstacle on a path they already walked. The outcome doesn't set their state. It remains constant. Their state was set before the outcome had a chance to. Same shape, different arena. Observe the structure. Think of the kind of founder who walks into a room to ask for something enormous. Funding, a partnership, a yes that could make or break the next 2 years, and doesn't perform confidence, actually has it. Not because they know for certain it'll work. They don't. It's because somewhere before that door opened, they already decided what kind of person they were going to be walking out of it, regardless of the answer. The rejection, if it comes, doesn't get to define them. They defined themselves first. They decided their own value. Notice what's actually happening in both cases. Look closely. It's not positive thinking. It is a precise mechanism. It's not good vibes only. It is a structured state. Sequencing. Take a look at the actual order. Decide first. You must set your own state first. The world responds second. The sequence is set. It's the entire reversal, a total change in direction. And here's what makes this different from every hollow version of this idea you've heard before. It's not about pretending outcomes don't matter, and it's not about ignoring risk. It's about refusing to hand your state over to something that hasn't happened yet. Group 1 waits for the verdict to know how to feel. Group 2 decides how they're going to show up and lets the verdict happen to that version of them, not the other way around. Raises the real question. What is the shift? If deciding first is the mechanism, what actually happens inside you when you do it? Because something measurable changes. Metaphorically, actually, it is a real change. That's exactly where we're going next. Stand by. So here's the actual answer to that question. What changes inside you when you start deciding first instead of reacting first? And I want to be straight with you, because this part of the internet loves to dress this up in language that sounds impressive but doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to do that. Look closely. Here's what's actually real. It's biological. First, the loop gets shorter. It's faster. You know that thing where something goes wrong and your brain replays it 11 times, rewrites what you should have said, imagines 3 different disaster endings? That's rumination, and it's expensive. It costs you energy. It eats hours. Every single day. But when you've already decided in advance how you're going to hold a situation, there's less to replay, because there was less uncertainty to begin with. You're not suppressing the thought. It's handled. You just gave your brain fewer open questions to keep chewing on. It's a clean flow. Second, the decision gets faster, but only with reps. It's a skill. This isn't magic. It's the same thing that happens with any skill. Logical and precise. The first time you try to decide your state in advance, it's slow and it feels forced, like learning to parallel park. The 50th time, it's closer to instant because you've built the pathway. Established and firm. People who look naturally decisive almost never are. Observe the structure. They're just further into the repetitions than you're seeing. The count matters. Third, you start noticing things you'd have missed. Observe the details. This one's simple, not mystical. Rumination and second-guessing take up bandwidth. Heavy cognitive tax. When that bandwidth isn't being spent relitigating the last thing that happened, it's available for the current thing that's happening. The opening in the conversation, the pattern in the data, the person who actually means what they're offering versus the one who doesn't. People call this intuition, a golden realization. It's really just attention that isn't being taxed by something else. Pure cognitive flow. Okay, pause the video for 5 seconds. Do it now. Actually do it. Set your state. Think about which one of these 3 already happens to you sometimes. A shorter loop, a faster call, a pattern you caught that someone else missed. If one of those landed, that's not a coincidence. It's a precise alignment. That's the mechanism already partially working, whether you built it on purpose or not. A functional circuit. Now, here's where it gets stranger, and this is the part people misread as luck. Observe the shift. Because once this starts running consistently, something shifts in what actually shows up around you. High-impact ignition. Not because the universe is keeping score. It's a scientific stillness. Because of something much more testable than that. A real, measurable shift. And that's next. Stay tuned. People who operate this way for long enough start hearing the same thing from everyone around them. You're so lucky. Things just work out for you. And every time, it drives them a little crazy, because from the inside, it doesn't feel like luck at all. It feels like math, pure, unmistakable math. Let me show you the math. Take 1 week. Let's look at exactly how it unfolds. Same events happen to 2 versions of the same person. Reactive you and decisive you. Monday, an opportunity comes in sideways. Someone mentions a project, half-formed, not even a real offer yet. Reactive. You hears it, isn't sure, says, maybe, let me think about it. And by Thursday, the moment's cold and the person's moved on to someone else. Decisive. You hears the exact same half-formed mention and says, I'm in before it's even fully real yet. Not recklessly, just because the decision about what kind of opportunities they say yes to was already made days ago. That single yes is now sitting in the world, doing something. The maybe never does anything. And that opportunity, It simply just evaporates. Wednesday, both versions get the same small rejection, a cold reply, a pass. Reactive, you spends the next 2 days quietly deflated, moving slower, asking for less in the meeting that afternoon. Decisive, you feels the sting for about 90 seconds and then makes the next ask anyway, because the rejection was never allowed to set the terms for what came after it. It was the exact same event, completely different week that follows it. By Friday, decisive, you has 3 more things in motion than reactive you does, not because reality handed them anything extra, but because they said yes faster, recovered quicker, and kept moving while reactive you was still processing Monday. Multiply that by 52 weeks. That's not a mystical field, that's compounding. Decisive, you simply generated more surface area for something to land on. And this is the part almost nobody says out loud. From the outside, said yes faster and recovered quicker, 52 times a year, looks exactly like luck. It looks like magnetism. It looks like some people just have it. It looks like some people just have it. Like it's built in. The truth is, they simply don't have it. They built a habit of not letting the first thing that happens decide the last thing that happens, and over enough repetitions, that habit manufactures its own opportunities. So if the mechanism really is that simple, decide first, let the world catch up, why doesn't everyone just do it? That's actually the most important question in this whole video, and almost nobody asks it. Let's ask it. Let's find the answer. Before I answer why most people don't stick with this, you need to see something underneath it, because if you think this is a willpower problem, you're going to misunderstand everything I'm about to tell you. This was never about trying harder. Willpower is what you reach for when you're forcing yourself to act like someone you're not yet, gritting your teeth, overriding the reflex, one white-knuckled decision at a time. And willpower has a ceiling. It runs out by 3 p.m. It runs out faster on a bad week. That's not a character flaw. That's just what willpower is. A battery, not a foundation. What actually separates Group 2 isn't a bigger battery. It's that they stopped running on one. Deciding first doesn't take effort for them the way it would for you trying it today, because it's not a decision they're making in the moment. It's a default they already installed. You don't spend willpower being who you already are. Here's the distinction that matters. Behavior that comes from forcing yourself is downstream of trying. Behavior that comes from identity is downstream of being. You can force yourself to decide first for a day, maybe a week, on sheer effort. And then a hard week comes, the battery's empty, and you're back to reacting, not because you failed, but because you were fixing the wrong layer. You were pulling on the leaf. The change has to happen at the root. So the real shift was never, make yourself do the decisive thing. It's become someone for whom the decisive thing is just what happens. It is simply not performed. It is absolutely not forced. Just the way you already operate, the same way you don't have to try to be right-handed. And here's the thing that should actually land, if nothing else in this video does. That version of you isn't hypothetical. It's not something you have to build from nothing. That version is already in there. It's just not usually the one holding the wheel. So if it's already available, if it's not some rare trait you either have or don't, then the real question isn't whether this works. It's why more people don't let that version take over. And the honest answer to that is the part almost nobody wants to hear. And that is exactly what's next. So here's the honest answer to why more people don't let that version take over. And I'd rather tell you the real reasons than the inspirational ones, because the inspirational ones won't actually help you. Reason 1 is simple: comfort. Just pure, seductive comfort. Reacting is easier in the short term, even though it's worse in the long term. Waiting to see how you feel before you decide anything costs you nothing right now. It is the easy path. Deciding first costs you something right now. You have to commit before you know how it turns out. Almost every bad habit is just the cheaper option in the moment, and this is no different. Group 1 isn't lazy. They are simply optimizing for the present. They're just optimizing for the next 10 minutes instead of the next 10 months, the same way almost everyone does by default. Reason 2, And this is the one nobody talks about. There's no feedback loop. If you decide first on Monday and it works out, your brain doesn't necessarily connect the two. It stays isolated. It just feels like a good day. A successful, quiet win for the mind. You don't get a notification that says, that happened because of the decision you made 3 days ago. The cause and the effect are separated by enough time and noise that the lesson never lands. So people quietly stop doing the thing that was working because nothing ever told them it was the thing that was working. Reason 3, and this is the big one. One bad day gets treated as proof the whole thing is false. It is a fatal error. Someone tries this for 4 days, has a rough 5th day where it doesn't feel like it's working, and concludes, okay, that was fake. But that conclusion is actually exactly backwards. A total miscalculation. One data point was never the test, never the final result. A habit that took years to install, as the default doesn't get replaced in 4 days. And judging it on day 5 is like judging whether you can run a mile based on your first 50 meters. The bad day isn't evidence it doesn't work. It's evidence you're early. It's just the beginning. Put those 3 together, and you get the actual reason most people don't sustain this. Not that it's too hard. Not that it doesn't work. But that it's boring, invisible, and easy to misjudge in exactly the window where most people quit. That's not a flaw in you. It's just a natural part of the learning process. That's just what any real skill looks like in the first stretch, before the reps catch up. Which means the real question was never, does this work? It's something far deeper and more urgent. It's, what do you actually do starting today so you're not one of the people who quits in that window? That's exactly what's next. No more theory, just the practical protocol. No more theory. Here's exactly what to do starting today. Let's look at the protocol. The whole practice comes down to one move. Before a specific moment happens, decide out loud, actually say it, don't just think it, how you're going to show up in it regardless of how it goes. That's it. That's the entire mechanism from this whole video, compressed into one single powerful action. Here's how day 1 works. Don't pick your whole life. Pick one specific moment coming up in the next 24 hours. A conversation, a task you've been putting off, a meeting you're dreading. Before it happens, say out loud, to yourself, exactly how you're going to walk into it. Not the outcome you're hoping for. How you're going to hold yourself regardless of the outcome. I'm walking into this steady, and nothing that happens in the next 10 minutes gets to change that. Then go do the thing. Just act. Step into that moment with complete and absolute certainty. Afterward, in one sentence, write down what actually happened versus what you braced for. That comparison is the whole point. It's how your brain starts building the evidence segment 3 talked about. You're building the new foundation. Week 1 is just that. Once a day, same structure. Doesn't need to be a big moment. Repetition is the key. The size of the moment matters less than the repetition of the sequence. Decide, then act, then compare. You're not trying to feel different by day 3. You're building the pathway. It is a slow, structural shift. Now, the part nobody warns you about. Somewhere around day 10 to 14, it stops feeling new, and it can start to feel like nothing's happening. That's not the method failing. That's the plateau every real skill hits once the novelty wears off and before the automaticity kicks in. The instinct here is to either quit or to make it bigger. Add more rules, more moments, more intensity. Don't do either. The move on a plateau is the opposite. Shrink it back down to 1 moment a day, keep the rep going, and let it run underneath the boredom instead of trying to force a breakthrough. Skills compound quietly before they compound visibly. This is that quiet part. Trust the mechanism completely. Do that for 30 days, and you won't need me to tell you it's working. You'll notice it. One day, it will just be there. Because one day you'll catch yourself already steady in a moment that used to knock you sideways, and you won't even remember deciding to be. And that's the whole mechanism, which brings us back to where we started. The structural shift is complete. Let's ask it. Let's find the answer. The final question remains in the light. Back at the start of this, I told you there's a specific moment where your brain stops working like everyone else's. Not a mood swing, not motivation, a switch. Here's what I didn't tell you yet. You're not waiting for that switch to find you. You're not missing some rare trait, and you're not behind. Every example in this video, the steady one, the decisive one, the one who doesn't let the first thing that happens decide the last thing that happens, that was never a different kind of person. That was the same brain you're using right now, running one different sequence. You already have it within you right now. You've probably felt it before, for a day, an hour, 5 minutes. Some moment where you decided first and everything after it just moved differently. You didn't imagine that. That was the switch, working, exactly once. The only thing separating you from someone who lives there is repetition, not raw material. So no, you don't go back after you find it. But you also don't have to go looking very far. It was never out of reach. It was just outvoted, most days, by the version of you that goes second. Starting today, that doesn't have to be the default anymore. So here's what I want you to actually do, not think about, do. Before you close this video, pick one moment coming up in the next 24 hours. Just one. Doesn't matter how big, it just matters that you choose. And in the comments, write down 2 things: the moment and how you're deciding to walk into it, regardless of how it goes. Not, I hope it goes well. The actual decision. Lock it in. Put it in writing, because the version of you that says it out loud is a lot harder to talk out of it than the version who just quietly meant to. If you want the next piece of this, what to do when the decision you made gets tested hard, not just inconvenienced, that's exactly what scientists couldn't explain this covers, and it picks up right where this one ends. And if this actually landed, subscribe to Inner Alchemy. This is exactly the kind of thing we go deeper on here, every week. Pick your moment right now. Decide to do it. Decide first. Flip the switch. I'll see you in the next one.